So today ASUS has two new high-end phones for us, the Zenfone 8 and the Zenfone 8 Flip. One is perhaps the best looking small Android phone you can buy, and the other is a weird half-step upgrade that leaves us waiting for a true successor to last year's Zenfone 7 Pro. Take a sec to subscribe so you don't miss more reviews coming soon, and we'll jump right in. Contrary to what the name suggests, the vanilla Zenfone 8 isn't the successor to last year's Zenfone 7. Instead, it's a new small flagship phone that aims to bring the very best high-end phone tech to a smaller form factor. It's built around the very latest Snapdragon 888 processor, with RAM and storage configurations up to 16GB plus 256GB. It's got a 5.9-inch 120Hz screen coated with Corning's latest Gorilla Glass Victus, and an ample 4000 mAh battery to power it through a full day. So you get the idea, this is a premium smartphone from top to bottom, and that makes the €599 starting price all the more impressive. There isn't too much to look at here in terms of the design, especially in the black model I've been using for the past few weeks. It's got a frosted glass rear and anodized aluminium sidewalls, but aesthetically there's not much here that's going to blow your mind. The more exciting thing for fans of small phones is that you get a Snapdragon 888 and a 120Hz screen in a phone that's around the same size as a Pixel 5 and with pricing that still rivals that less powerful Google phone. The Zenfone 8 Flip, on the other hand, is more of a traditional member of the Zenfone family. ASUS is keen to point out that it's the successor to the vanilla Zenfone 7, not the 7 Pro. As for when or if we'll get a Zenfone 8 Pro, who knows, ASUS isn't commenting, but that's not what we have here today. Anyway, for the past 2 years, the Zenfone series has been defined by its unique flip cameras, and once again that's exactly what we've got here in the Zenfone 8 Flip. In fact, save for one or two minor downgrades to the camera which we'll get to later, the 8 Flip is pretty much just a Zenfone 7 Pro with an upgraded processor. That means the handful of gripes that we had with the phone last year have unfortunately made it across to the new model, specifically no water resistance and no wireless charging. For what it's worth, the regular Zenfone 8, which is really the focus of this release cycle for ASUS, is rated IP68 to protect it from both splashes and submersion, and that model also comes with a 3.5mm headphone jack, which I don't particularly care about, but I know a lot of other people do. So honestly, the Flip isn't the most exciting phone, given that it very closely mirrors a device that's been on the market for more than 9 months already. Aside from a few changes to the colour and branding, and of course the step up to a Snapdragon 888, the internals are largely the same as the Zenfone 7 Pro. But that hardware does still hold up in 2021. There's a large 6.67-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED panel running at 90Hz, which is expansive and also uninterrupted by notches or hole punches. And the large 5000 mAh battery ranks among the largest you'll find in any mainstream phone. In day-to-day use, I've found the Zenfone 8 Flip largely matched the strong battery life that I saw from the 7 Pro last year, and in some cases actually exceeded it. 6 hours of screen on time was definitely doable, and you really have to push this phone with constant photography to kill it off in under a day. The same also applies to the regular Zenfone 8, which has a smaller cell at 4000 mAh, but also a less expansive display. I could easily get a full day's use out of that phone as well, with around 5.5 hours of screen on time. In terms of photography, that of course is a big focus of both phones. The Zenfone 8 Flip recreates the camera setup of the 7 Pro, with a 64MP IMX686 behind the main camera, only this time without optical stabilization. Your ultrawide is the same 12MP IMX363, which is the main shooter from the Google Pixel 5, and there's also an 8MP 3x telephoto. What's also really useful is the ability to manually rotate the camera to any angle between front-facing or rear-facing. At a 90-degree angle, the Zenfone's flip camera is the ideal shooter for taking pictures of kids or pets from a lower vantage point. And this feature also works with third-party camera apps thanks to ASUS's floating camera widget. So once again, because of the Zenfone's unique flip camera assembly, which is rated for 150 flips per day for 5 years, all of these cameras can also be used to take selfies. And that's arguably the Zenfone 8 Flip's biggest selling point. No need to settle for an inferior front-facing camera behind a notch or hole punch, simply take great selfies by flipping over the main camera array. All three cameras hold up pretty well whether they're facing front or back, with natural colours, plenty of fine detail, and a slight grain to photos up close, similar to Google's Pixel photo aesthetic, though obviously you'll get slightly worse low-light performance compared to the Zenfone 7 Pro because of the lack of OIS. Over on the regular Zenfone 8 you get the same ultra-wide camera and an IMX686 for the primary shooter, only this time with optical stabilization, meaning clearer, brighter shots in low light. The big disappointment for the Zenfone 8 is of course the lack of telephoto zoom, meaning you're limited to digital crops from that 64MP sensor. At least the relatively high resolution does mean you've got some wiggle room to crop down without losing too much detail. And around the front, the Zenfone 8 has a traditional hole-punch selfie camera, but with a new IMX663 sensor. It's the first phone to use this sensor, and it should help to capture sharper selfies thanks to its use of autofocus. The front-facing camera is the only blemish in one of the best displays you'll find in a compact Android phone. The 120Hz refresh rate beats the likes of the Pixel 5 in terms of smoothness, and the 1100 nits of peak brightness helps to retain readability even in bright ambient light. My only slight disappointment, having used the Pixel 5 for most of the year so far, is that ASUS's phone screen sports slightly chunkier bezels than Google's, especially in the chin area down below. Otherwise though, this is a great little screen. Audio is also impressive across both devices, particularly in the vanilla Zenfone 8. In casual testing, the Zenfone speaker came close to matching the maximum volume of the much larger Galaxy S21 Ultra, and sounded a little clearer than that phone with the volume maxed out. That's all the more impressive considering its very compact size. What's also impressive is ASUS's clean, fast software. ASUS has established its Zen UI as a fast, performant version of Android with helpful software additions peppered throughout the UI. And version 8 of the software doesn't change up too much compared to previous iterations. There's basically nothing in the way of preloaded bloatware, and as I've said in previous reviews, ASUS's software just gets out of the way, and as a result is a delight to use. That doesn't mean the Zenfone 8 is lacking in features though. The built-in Game Genie mode, borrowed from the ROG phone series, lets you record games, suppress notifications, and lock the brightness and refresh rates during play sessions, among many other gaming features. Plus there's a nifty one-handed mode borrowed from Android 12, which functions exactly as it does in the current Android 12 preview. The latest Zen UI is also more customizable with tweakable accent colors, icon styles, and fonts, and the always-on display can be tweaked with new clock styles and scheduled to display only during certain hours. So you get the idea. This is pretty much the closest you can get to pure Android in software that doesn't come straight from Google. Some other odds and ends to mention before we wrap up. Both phones ship with a 30W USB PD charger, and while 30W charging isn't the fastest we've seen on the market, it's definitely still within the realms of fast charging. And particularly for the small Zenfone 8, it's at the level where you can plug it in, go take a shower, and you'll be guaranteed to be out of the danger zone by the time you check it next. Both Zenfone 8 models also feature optical in-screen fingerprint, which works about as well as it does on rival phones like the OnePlus 9. But there's a bit of a problem though. With these new phones, ASUS is kind of stuck in a branding quagmire of its own creation. The vanilla Zenfone 8 is an entirely new and smaller phone, not a successor to the Zenfone 7, while the Zenfone 8 Flip is the follow-up to last year's Zenfone 7, just not the 7 Pro, so by comparison it seems a little bit underwhelming compared to last year's ASUS flagship. Ultimately with the Flip, what you have is a Zenfone 7 Pro with an upgraded processor, a very slightly downgraded camera, at the same launch price as last year's flagship phone. Again, that sounds fairly underwhelming when the 7 Pro itself is now available for considerably less. The regular Zenfone 8 though represents a new class of device from ASUS, and one of the real highlights of the admittedly sparse, compact Android flagship space. ASUS hasn't skimped on specs or other features to fit the Zenfone 8 into its diminutive form factor, and it feels and performs like a fully fledged high-end Android phone. Only real disappointments are the lack of wireless charging, and the limited breadth of VoLTE and Wi-Fi calling support on certain carriers, given ASUS's lack of clout in that department. Plus, the speed of OS updates is also a bit of a concern given ASUS's track record in that area. Nevertheless, the Zenfone 8 is a fantastic little phone, and worth a look if you want titanic performance in a more pocketable package. The 8 Flip on the other hand is a bit of a harder sell, selling for $100 more than the still great Zenfone 7 Pro. Nevertheless, if you want a fantastic flip camera, ASUS remains the only game in town. That's it for now. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss more reviews like this one coming soon. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.